I grew up believing family came first. As a software developer in Atlanta, I could have afforded luxury, but chose a modest apartment instead. When Dad got sick during my senior year, I turned down MIT to stay close, attending State University to help with his care. That one decision snowballed into years of financial support that my family came to expect. What started as temporary assistance became their lifestyle, while they mocked my cheap ways, never knowing I was the one keeping their lights on. Before I tell you how I finally stood up to my ungrateful family, let me know where you are watching from in the comments, and hit that like and subscribe button if you have ever had to make tough choices with toxic relatives. Family meant everything to me growing up. In our middle-class neighborhood in Marietta, just outside Atlanta, we were not wealthy, but my parents, especially my father, instilled strong values about sticking together. My mom stayed home with us 3 kids, while Dad worked as an operations manager at a manufacturing plant. My brother Tyler was 2 years younger, and my sister Amanda 4 years behind me. We were close, sharing everything from weekend barbecues to family game nights, where Dad insisted nobody was allowed to sulk about losing. Everything changed during my senior year of high school when Dad collapsed at work. The diagnosis was severe coronary artery disease, requiring immediate bypass surgery. The family was devastated. I was 18, acceptance letter from MIT in hand, ready to pursue my dream of computer science at one of the best schools in the country. "Kevin, you should still go," Dad told me from his hospital bed, tubes snaking from his arms, his face ashen against the white pillows. "We will figure things out." But I saw the worry in his eyes. The medical bills were already piling up despite insurance. Mom would need to care for him during recovery. Tyler and Amanda were too young to help much. So, I made what seemed like a temporary sacrifice. I turned down MIT and enrolled at Georgia State University. Close enough to live at home, good enough computer science program, and affordable with my scholarships. Just until Dad gets back on his feet, I told myself. Those 4 years of college were tough. I studied full-time, worked part-time at the campus IT department, and helped around the house. Dad slowly improved, but never returned to his former energy levels. The doctors advised against returning to his high-stress management position. He eventually took a part-time administrative role that paid barely enough to cover groceries. Mom remained his primary caretaker, never returning to work. Despite everything, I graduated with honors and landed a good entry-level position at a growing tech company. My starting salary was decent, $55,000 a year. Not amazing for the industry, but impressive for a new graduate in our area. "I can help with some bills while I am living here," I offered to my parents, seeing the past due notices on the kitchen counter. Dad looked relieved, Mom tearful with gratitude. "Just until we get caught up, son," Dad promised. That first year, I covered the mortgage payment twice, when they came up short. Then it became 3 times, then every month. Utility bills followed, then the medical expenses. By my second year at the company, after a promotion bumped me to $70,000, I was covering most of their household expenses. Meanwhile, Tyler finished high school and went to University of Georgia on a partial scholarship. Amanda was accepted to a prestigious private high school with a scholarship that covered tuition, but not the expensive uniforms, trips, and technology requirements. I quietly picked up those tabs too. I found a small 1-bedroom apartment 15 minutes from my parents. Nothing fancy, basic appliances, functional furniture, and enough space for me and my gaming setup. I drove a reliable but aging Honda Civic, ate simple meals, and was careful with my spending. At work, I became friends with Jackson, a fellow developer who eventually became the only person who knew the full truth about my financial situation. "Why are you not getting the new MacBook like everyone else?" he asked one day after a company meeting where upgrades were discussed. I shrugged. "Mine still works fine." Later, over beers, I confided in him. "I send nearly 60% of my take-home pay to my family. They think I am making much less than I actually do." Jackson was shocked. Dude, that is insane. You just got that massive project bonus. You should be living it up. But I believed in my family. I remembered my grandfather saying, Langstons always take care of their own. It felt good in a way, being the provider. My dating life suffered, though. I briefly dated Sarah, a graphic designer I met through work. She was beautiful, funny, and we connected immediately. But after 3 months, the relationship hit a wall when she wanted to plan a weekend getaway to Savannah. I cannot swing that right now, I told her, calculating the extra medical bills I had just covered for Dad's new prescription. Sarah frowned. Kevin, you make good money. Why are you always broke? It does not add up. I could not tell her the truth, feeling oddly ashamed of both my sacrifice and my family's dependency. We broke up shortly after, and I threw myself deeper into work, earning another promotion to senior developer with a salary bump to $90,000, almost none of which went to improving my lifestyle. 2 years into my family support arrangement, the dynamic began to shift. What started with gratitude had morphed into expectation and increasingly criticism. It started subtly at Sunday dinners, which I never missed despite my growing workload. Mom had renovated the dining room, something I helped finance with an expensive table and chairs I could not have afforded for my own place. Kevin, honey, when are you going to replace that ratty old jacket? Mom asked one evening while scooping out second helpings of roast beef onto fine china plates that were new since my last visit. It is still good, I replied, looking down at my serviceable winter coat now in its 5th season. Tyler snickered. Good, if you are auditioning for a homeless shelter commercial. I forced a smile, letting it slide. Tyler had graduated with a business degree and landed a job at a marketing firm. His starting salary was modest, but he lived at home rent-free and spent lavishly on clothes and nights out. I noticed his new designer watch glinting under the chandelier light, another household upgrade I had quietly financed. Amanda, now in college at NYU with tuition assistance from Mom and Dad that actually came from my accounts, chimed in over video chat on Mom's tablet. Kevin, you work in tech. Are not all you guys supposed to be rolling in money? Not everyone, I answered mildly. Dad cleared his throat. Leave your brother alone. He is sensible with money, not like you, spendthrifts. I appreciated his defense, but noticed he said nothing about the fact that my sensible nature was funding their increasingly comfortable lifestyle. The mockery escalated at Thanksgiving, when extended family gathered. My Aunt Patricia eyed my simple sweater and jeans while complimenting Tyler on his tailored shirt. Kevin is just more practical, Mom explained with a little laugh. He would rather save every penny than dress to impress. Uncle Roger nudged me. Good financial strategy, son, but you know what they say? You cannot take it with you. Everyone laughed. I smiled tightly, excusing myself to get some air. Standing on the back porch, I calculated exactly how much of the elaborate holiday meal, from the organic free-range turkey to the expensive bourbon for the adults, had been paid for with my practical penny pinching. A month later, Tyler pulled into the driveway in a brand-new BMW while I was visiting. Sweet ride, huh? He grinned, tossing the keys in the air as we stood in the driveway. Lease deal was too good to pass up. Looks expensive, I commented, thinking about the transmission issue in my Honda I had been putting off fixing. That is because you always think like a poor person. Tyler laughed, slapping my shoulder. Gotta spend money to be taken seriously in business, bro. Inside, Mom cooed over Tyler's success while simultaneously commenting on my appearance. Kevin, sweetie, would it kill you to buy some new shirts? People will think we raised you in poverty? The irony burned. Later that evening, I accidentally saw a credit card statement on Dad's desk while looking for a pen. There, among the charges I would ultimately pay off, was a $4,000 annual membership to an exclusive golf club. Dad is golfing again, I asked Mom in the kitchen, keeping my tone neutral. Oh yes, the doctor said it is good, gentle exercise for his heart. The walking, you know. She smiled, adding, He needs some pleasure in life, after all he has been through. I nodded, swallowing hard. Dad had not worked full-time in nearly 6 years, yet apparently could spend 4 hours on a golf course twice weekly. The situation with Amanda became clear during spring break of her junior year. She flew home ticket courtesy of my points, though she did not know that, and announced her engagement to a classmate from a wealthy Connecticut family. "We are thinking destination wedding in the Bahamas," she gushed over dinner. "Nothing crazy, just immediate family and closest friends. Maybe 70 people." Mom clapped her hands excitedly. "How wonderful, we will need to start planning right away." I stayed quiet, mentally calculating what this would cost, and how much would inevitably fall to me. Later, when Amanda showed me preliminary venue options on her laptop, I gently suggested something local might be nice. Kevin," she rolled her eyes. "Not everyone wants to live like a college student forever. This is my special day." "I know," I said carefully, "but destination weddings are expensive for everyone involved." "Mom and Dad already said they would handle it," she replied dismissively. Not everything is about money. Easy for her to say when it was not her money being spent. The breaking point came 2 months later at a family birthday dinner for Mom. I had splurged on a modest gold bracelet, wrapping it carefully. Tyler presented her with an extravagant designer handbag, while Dad gave her a diamond necklace I knew I could not afford. After dinner, I overheard them in the kitchen. Poor Kevin, Mom sighed. "His gift was sweet, but you would think a man his age would have more to show for himself." "Some people just lack ambition," Tyler replied. "At least he is reliable." Reliable, like a worn-out appliance. Like the ATM I had become. That night I called Jackson and finally let my frustration pour out. "You realize they are manipulating you, right?" he said bluntly. "They are living beyond their means on your dime while making you feel bad about it." "They are my family," I defended weakly. "Family does not treat family like an unlimited credit card while mocking them behind their back." His words hit hard. That weekend, I created a spreadsheet of every expense I had covered for the past 3 years. The total shocked even me, $178,000 in change, nearly $60,000 a year. No wonder I felt perpetually financially strained, despite my good salary. I consulted with a financial advisor who looked alarmed when I outlined my situation. "You are jeopardizing your own financial security," she told me plainly. "If this continues, you will have no retirement savings, no emergency fund, and no ability to ever buy your own home." A session with a therapist helped me understand I had fallen into a pattern of enabling dependency while sacrificing my own needs. Together, we crafted a 3-month transition plan that would be firm but not cruel. The final catalyst came when Mom left her phone on the kitchen counter during my visit. A text notification popped up from Amanda. "Did Kevin leave yet? Dying over his Walmart shoes at dinner. How does he afford anything on his salary?" I picked up the phone, and before I could stop myself, scrolled up to see a thread between my mother, sister, and brother, all mocking my clothes, my car, my apartment, speculating about my pathetic salary, and laughing about my frugal habits. Not once acknowledging that my sacrifices were funding their lifestyles. Something inside me finally broke. And then, just as quickly, something stronger formed in its place: resolve. The following weekend, I arrived at my parents' house with 3 carefully organized folders and a heart pounding like a jackhammer. I had requested a family meeting, including Tyler in person and Amanda via video call. "What is this about, son?" Dad asked, as everyone settled in the living room. "You sounded serious on the phone." I took a deep breath, steeling myself against the practiced manipulation I knew would come. "I need to discuss our financial arrangement." I began, my voice steadier than I felt. "For the past 3 years, I have been supporting this household, and both Tyler and Amanda, to a degree that is unsustainable." Mom laughed nervously. "What do you mean?" "You have helped out here and there, sure, but I opened the first folder and placed the detailed spreadsheet on the coffee table. $178,000, $432.16, I stated flatly. That is the exact amount I have provided since I started working. Monthly mortgage payments, utility bills, medical expenses, car insurance, credit card bills, home renovations, college expenses, all of it documented here with dates and amounts. The room fell silent. Tyler leaned forward, scanning the figures with widening eyes. Dad's face had gone pale. Amanda's mouth opened and closed wordlessly on the tablet screen. "That is impossible," Mom finally whispered. "It cannot be that much." It is. I continued, opening the second folder. "This includes screenshots of text conversations where you all mock my lifestyle, my clothes, my apartment, never once acknowledging that the reason I live so frugally is because I have been supporting 4 adults instead of just myself." Tyler's face flushed with anger. "You went through Mom's phone, invaded our privacy. The text was open when Mom left her phone on the counter," I replied calmly. "But yes, once I saw what you were saying about me, I did read more." Dad interjected, finding his voice. "We have been through difficult times. My health, your health, improved enough for golf memberships." I cut in, surprising myself with my directness. "Mom has not worked in 6 years. Tyler makes a decent salary, but contributes nothing to this household while driving a BMW. Amanda is planning a destination wedding that would cost tens of thousands." "So what are you saying?" Amanda asked, tears forming in her eyes. "That you are keeping score? That your help came with strings attached?" "No, I am saying that I gave freely from love, and in return received mockery and exploitation." I opened the third folder. "This is my transition plan. For 3 months, I will continue covering essential bills while transferring accounts to your names. After that, you are on your own." Mom's face crumpled. "You cannot just abandon your family after everything we have done for you." "What exactly have you done for me lately?" I asked quietly. "Besides, make me feel worthless for the sacrifices I have made for all of you." Tyler stood up, pacing angrily. "This is bullshit. You make it sound like we forced you. You offered to help, I did. And now I am unoffering," I replied. "Dad can return to full-time work. Mom can get a job. You can contribute to household expenses instead of luxury purchases. Amanda can plan a wedding within your actual means. You have no right." Mom began, but Dad placed a hand on her arm. "Let him finish," he said softly, something like shame creeping into his expression. I laid out the transition timeline, my voice growing stronger with each detail. Bills would be transferred to their names. Automatic payments from my accounts would cease. Credit cards I had been paying would be removed from my responsibility. "You have 3 months to adjust your lifestyle and expectations," I concluded. I have provided a list of resources for financial counseling, job placement services, and affordable healthcare options. The meeting devolved exactly as I had anticipated: anger, tears, accusations, guilt trips. Tyler stormed out. Amanda disconnected abruptly. Mom retreated to her bedroom. Only Dad remained sitting silently as the chaos subsided. "I had no idea it was this much," he finally said, looking at the spreadsheet. "We took advantage of you." It was the closest thing to an acknowledgement I would get that day. The following weeks were brutal. Family members took sides. Aunts called to berate me for abandoning my parents. Cousins sent messages of support. Anonymous posts appeared on family social media suggesting I was selfish and ungrateful. I second-guessed myself, constantly lying awake at night, wondering if I was making a terrible mistake. Jackson became my rock, reminding me of the facts when emotions threatened to overwhelm me. "They will adjust," he assured me. "People adapt when they have to." Surprisingly, Sarah reached out after hearing about the situation through mutual friends. "I think I understand now why things were complicated before," she said over coffee. "That was incredibly selfless of you, Kevin." I shook my head. "Not selfless, codependent. There is a difference. As promised, I began the transition process methodically. Each week, another bill transferred out of my name. Each week, another automatic payment ceased. Each week, my bank account balance grew instead of dwindled. For the first time in years, I began apartment hunting for a place that reflected my actual financial situation. Nothing extravagant, but certainly an upgrade from my cramped one-bedroom. The 3-month transition period revealed surprising adaptations within my family. Dad, faced with actual financial pressure for the first time in years, secured a full-time administrative position at a local company. The pay was modest but steady. Mom, after initial resistance and dramatic predictions of destitution, enrolled in a medical billing course to refresh skills from before we were born. Tyler was the most resistant. 2 weeks after our confrontation, he showed up at my apartment unannounced. Look, he began awkwardly standing in my living room. I might have been a little harsh. I waited, saying nothing. The thing is, he continued shifting his weight. I am in a bit of a tight spot with the BMW payments, just until my commission check comes through next month. Maybe $5,000. I will pay you back, obviously. The old Kevin would have reached for his checkbook. The new one simply shook his head. No, Tyler. You need to solve your own financial problems now. His face hardened. Wow. So much for family loyalty. This is loyalty, I replied. To myself and to the hard work I have put in. And ultimately to you, because you will never learn to manage your own finances if I keep bailing you out. He left angry, but 3 weeks later texted me a photo of his new used Toyota with the caption, "Practical enough for you. Turns out my poor person thinking brother was right about car payments. It was progress." Amanda surprised me most. She showed up one evening with homemade cookies and genuine remorse. I read through all the spreadsheets she admitted as we sat at my small kitchen table. I had no idea you were the one paying for my study abroad semester or my spring break trips. Mom and Dad always said they handled it. They did handle it, I replied, by passing the bills to me. She nodded, eyes downcast. My wedding is postponed. We are saving up for something smaller locally. She looked up. Would you still give me away when the time comes? It was the first genuine connection I had felt with my sister in years. 6 months after my financial declaration of independence, we gathered for a much more modest Thanksgiving. The difference was striking store-bought decorations instead of elaborate arrangements, a reasonable turkey rather than an organic heritage bird, and most notably, a different energy in the room. Dad, coming home from his new job, had a tired dignity about him. Mom, between classes, had rediscovered her talent for making simple meals special. Tyler arrived in his sensible car, bringing grocery store wine instead of expensive bourbon. I sold my designer watch collection, he told me quietly as we set the table. Turns out they did not impress people who actually mattered. The gifts that Christmas were small but meaningful. A hand-knitted scarf from Mom, a framed photo of us as kids from Dad, a heartfelt card from Tyler acknowledging his past behavior. Simple expressions of actual appreciation rather than commercial obligations. I maintained my boundaries, but softened some edges. When Dad needed a specialized heart medication not fully covered by insurance, I paid for it directly, but with clear communication that this was a specific gesture, not a return to open-ended support. We developed, at my insistence, a written agreement about financial expectations going forward. It felt formal, even cold at first, but ultimately provided clarity that prevented misunderstandings. My personal life flourished in unexpected ways. I moved to a comfortable 2-bedroom apartment in a neighborhood I had always admired. Sarah and I reconnected, building a relationship based on honesty about my past and my finances. I took up hiking on weekends, discovering state parks within driving distance that offered peace and perspective. My health improved as chronic stress subsided. Sleep came easier. I found myself laughing more freely. Most surprisingly, I discovered a passion for financial literacy outreach. I began volunteering at a community center, teaching basic budgeting and saving strategies to young adults. Each time I helped someone understand compound interest or emergency funds, I thought of my grandfather, whose advice about family loyalty I now understood in a more nuanced way. He had not meant enabling destructive patterns or sacrificing self-respect. He had meant standing by family through genuine hardship, offering support that promoted growth rather than dependency. One evening, nearly a year after my financial intervention, Dad and I sat on his modest patio after a family dinner. "I owe you an apology," he said, looking older and wiser than I remembered. "I allowed myself to become someone I never intended to be, dependent, entitled, willing to let my son sacrifice his future for my comfort." I nodded, accepting his words. "Your grandfather would be proud of you," he continued. "Not for the money you gave us, but for the courage it took to stop." That night driving home, I realized that true wealth has little to do with bank balances. It lies in relationships built on mutual respect and boundaries that protect rather than isolate, in the quiet dignity of standing on your own feet while extending a hand, not a blank check, to those you love. I now understand that supporting others should elevate everyone involved, not diminish anyone. That generosity without boundaries becomes exploitation. That love without honesty is just comfortable deception. My family and I continue to rebuild our relationships, stumbling sometimes, but moving forward with greater authenticity than before. We are learning together that the currency of family is not measured in dollars, but in dignity, respect, and genuine care. What about you? Have you ever had to make difficult choices between your own well-being and family expectations? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe to my channel for more real-life experiences that might help you navigate your own complicated relationships. And if you know someone struggling with similar family financial dynamics, consider sharing this video. Sometimes knowing we are not alone in these challenges makes all the difference. Thank you for listening to my journey. And remember, setting boundaries is not selfish. It is an act of self-respect that ultimately benefits everyone involved.